This is a bumper for a Ranger Raptor, but this is not a Raptor. But as you can see, it fits just fine. This is a bumper for a Ranger Raptor, a really nice one at that too. But this is not a Raptor, and unfortunately it doesn't fit. What's worse, they do actually make this exact same bumper for the normal Rangers, so why didn't I order that one? Well, let me explain.
A few months ago I bought one of the cheapest Ford Rangers I could find to do it up as a promotional vehicle for my clothing brand Odyssey Activewear. My plan was to add a knockoff Ranger Raptor kit to give it the wider arches, which would then allow me to combine it with aftermarket bumpers designed for the genuine Raptors, with the hope that they would actually fit. Out of Hammer, Rival and other brands of aftermarket bumpers, the Option X design from Option 4-wheel drive was my favourite, so I went straight to the manufacturer in Thailand to try and get the best price. Although in hindsight I wish I'd just ordered from a UK company who had already imported it after being hit with massive shipping and import costs, which would also have given me a safety net in case of problems like this. As part of my research I looked through the fitting instructions for their various bumpers, where the V1 Fighter rear bumper was listed under Ford Ranger 2012 to 2022, with no mention of it under Ranger Raptor, despite there being product pages across the web for it specifically stating Ranger Raptor. I'd seen pictures of this bumper fitted to both Rangers and Raptors, so I just assumed that it must be the same one that fits both. But many weeks and over £1,000 worth of port fees, delivery charges and tax bills later, these hefty bumpers finally arrived, and it was time to see if bumpers designed for the Ranger Raptor do actually fit a 2016 Ford Ranger. I soon realised that this is a job I was going to struggle to do alone, so with all my friends at work doing proper jobs, I had to convince my wife to give me a hand. There was one condition, that she absolutely did not want to be on camera, so this footage has been censored. I lifted it in place while she affixed the bolts, after explaining the concept of righty-tighty lefty-loosey numerous times. We got it half into place when we were treated to yet another heavy rain shower, so I lost my companion as she ran off inside to protect her hair. But adorned with my waterproofs, I persevered in the rain and eventually managed to get it fixed into place, although there was no chance of lifting it into alignment and tightening the bolts at the same time, so since it was past 5 PM at this point I called for some help from my buddy Wayne. Together we managed to loosen, shimmy and lift this front bumper into much better alignment, although just typically you can see in this clip that the bumper sneakily moves out of place while I'm tightening up the bolts, just after Wayne has left. So the next day I got a little creative and used a pair of jacks and ratchet straps to lift, pull and tilt the bumper exactly into place, and more importantly hold it there until I'd tightened up all the bolts. Right, there we go. I'm much happier with the fit of this now. The gaps are looking a little bit better. I mean, I've seen pictures of some others on actual Raptors, and they do have a little bit of a gap, especially here between these side pods and the bumper. They even have that gap on the original OEM bumpers too. If you look closely, you can see the little adjustment slots the bolts can move around in. There's the front and back ones there, and if you peek through this hole, you can see the up and down ones there. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to be keeping this letterbox feature just until it's been sprayed, and then I'm going to fit a nice 32-inch light bar in there. So that front bumper is just about fitted, but I've run into one more little problem. This is a cool red skid plate that I ordered, but unfortunately it doesn't fit because this is now kind of half a Raptor. The mounting points from there to there are much longer because this bumper sticks out much further. This bumper did actually come with its own skid plate, which, as you'd expect, does fit the bumper perfectly. But there's one little problem where that original recovery point gets in the way. So I'm going to have to see if I can cut a hole in this somehow.
Well, I think that's pretty much unusable as a recovery point. Not that I really need it as a recovery point, but I've got a whole recovery bumper. I'll tell you one thing though, this rain is absolutely doing my head in. Non-stop in July. Might have to see if I can wire in some lights into these little holes. They're where the genuine Raptors have the 2 recovery points peeking out, as opposed to the one that hangs down on the left hand side on the standard Rangers. Right, so that's the front bumper finished off. I'm pretty happy with how it's looking now. The gaps are all pretty much even, and it's looking good with all its extra little componentry attached, like that skid plate. It is a shame about the rear bumper not fitting. That's cost me a good load of money, that, so hopefully I can sell it and make some of that back. Unfortunately, there's not time and probably not enough money left in my budget to get a replacement one that's actually going to fit this normal Ranger before it's booked in for its respray in early August. So I think what I'm going to do is just stick with the standard bumper and get them to paint that instead. So a bit of a disappointment, but at least it'll be just as functional.